got David. Several times he hesitated, including the time that he attacked Saul and tore his garment. The question is, if these are all counted as righteous, how do we ever get away saying that we cannot be faithful because we hesitated? When we acknowledge we've hesitated, become repentant, and a repentant heart pleases God.
That's right, dude. Lots of times, whether we do wait on things or we mess up and stuff like that, like for me, if I haven't messed up in a while, or not messed up, I sin daily, but if there are sins that I haven't committed in a while, certain ones that I used to struggle with, like I was saying, pornography and stuff like that, that's a huge one for me. And if I go a while without watching that, and one of my friends watches it, it's so easy for me to go, you know what, you need to understand, like, you're telling me you feel really bad right now, and all this different stuff. You have a repentant heart right now. You know what you did was wrong, and you want. But anyways, how some people will say, like, how they feel so far away from God at that point or whatever, and it's easy for me at that point to tell them, you're drowning, absolutely drowning in God's grace. Like, you can't escape it. When you're a child of God, you can't escape that grace. That grace is so there. It's so present, it's so ever present. And we have a God that's so righteous and so merciful. And he's always, like it says, he's the same today as he was yesterday and as he will be tomorrow. He's constant. You know what I mean? And so something we need to understand, and we need to try, because lots of times understanding isn't enough in this sense, but we need to try to make it a reality in our lives that we can't base how good God is off of our shortcomings or off of our failures, off of all these different things, like just going back to David. David defeated Goliath. Little farm boy David goes up, and he just sees all these people and goes, how dare these people defy the armies of the living God? How dare they? What nerve do they have that they do this, And everybody else, they didn't have that faith that David had. Like, all the armies, they were going, man, this guy's big. This Goliath, man, he's big. He was out there, like, yelling remarks for days, I think. That's also in Samuel. I'll have to check that out. But it was for a while, and nobody did anything about it. And then David, like I just said, little David goes up there and just sprints. Just goes and sprints out towards this humongous, like, just this giant, And I heard it said in a sermon, that he wasn't afraid of how big Goliath was, because behind him he saw how big God was, that his God was, that he was serving. He knew, he had that faith, that he knew he was just going to go out there and he was just going to wreck this guy up, It wasn't for glorification for David. It wasn't so, hey, yeah, look, I'm not a little farmer boy. No, it was just like, how, is this guy serious? Is this guy serious? Like how we would say, is this guy serious if a guy comes into a clan war and has one person tells us to start the room? We're like, is this guy serious? This guy's got to be joking. You know what I mean? He was that sure about it. He was that sure that he was just going to have victory. Not him, but that God through him would have the victory in the situation. It's nuts, man. I love this faith stuff.
David actor. I think that David, I was in a sermon a while back. We went to a Christian convention in Wichita, Kansas, and David was actually like 6'2". He wasn't that small. He fought like lions. You attack my sheep, you're gonna get my fist, my rocks, my God. But he wasn't actually that short, or as most people think. But Goliath, everyone knows that he was giant. I think he was like 8'11", and he had 5 brothers. Go ahead.
Well, regardless, it was actually people speculate it was as tall as 10'6", I believe, because in order to have, by measurement, the type of weapons he was using, you would have had to have been that tall.
Long story short, I'm glad you brought that up. The whole point of how they said, how do you feel like you're going to defeat, or how are you going to defeat this Goliath? And and he said, I'm a shepherd. When a bear or a lion goes after my sheep, I make sure it let goes of it. I make sure I take care of business. This man will be no different from those animals that I killed. Just that kind of faith is just. It's amazing, man. But something. Wait, hold on. Does somebody else want to talk before I talk about something else?
I would say one more thing, that David had more faith than just defeating Goliath right now. He fought 5 stones because Goliath had 4 brothers, and he was intending to defeat them all. When it was over, he took Goliath's armor to his tent, so it couldn't be used against us as Christians, as the sons of God. Wait, I think I said that wrong, but he did it so it couldn't be used against us again. It's thinking of Goliath as a champion. He is a champion. We need to defeat our champion. Our champion is our sin.
How big was David?
David, I'm pretty sure, was like 6'2".
That would make about sense because of the fact that what he did after he hit he hit Goliath with the stone. Yeah. Considering the weight to that sword, probably would have been at least 60 pounds.
Alright, so what I was going to say, and then David, you can go on and say whatever you want. Verses 26 and 27, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath. Oh, wait, no, never mind. On verse 25, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasure of sin for a season. So pretty much, he wanted to suffer with his people rather than live a sin-filled life with the people that took him in, and to have the easy life. He wanted to spend his time on earth living with his people so that he could have far greater riches whenever he dies.
It's pretty awesome, huh?
I mean, in his position, I don't know if I could have done that. I mean, it seems like his ability to be beyond me. I don't know.
Of course, God is the strongest thing that exists. But he did give us, he gave everybody free will. And with that, I've heard, he doesn't give us anything that, we can't handle. And of course, if he did it for us, we could handle it, so to speak. But, I guess it's just in people's mindsets, and what I've seen is that people like to say they don't think they can do this. But, and the reason I'm saying this is because when people say that, it kind of makes me feel like those people are thinking, like somebody else was saying earlier, like they're not as good as this person or something. But, that's why he gave it to Moses and didn't give it to Jim Bob down the street from Moses, you know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody should feel bad because they think they couldn't do what, some of these people were doing. You just gotta do what God has planned for you. And, you should, think good thoughts about these people, but, you shouldn't discredit yourself for, thinking that you might not be able to. If anybody's thinking like that, because I do sometimes.
No, like I was saying, I've been guilty of that like crazy, is thinking about that stuff. But when God spoke to Moses straight up told the creator of everything, said, "You got the wrong man. You got the wrong man."